Hey guys, I'm Waffle. Quick tutorial today on how to save tile layers to a file and then load them. So if you have a game that you want to use tiles instead of objects, or I don't know, say you're making a farming game or something like that, and you have tiles that you're changing and placing down all over the place, and you want to save that file, and then of course when you reload the game you can load those tiles that you had. And I'll just do it again here. I'm just adding a whole bunch of tiles randomly. I'll press S to save it, and then I'll even close the project real quick and then relaunch it. And then if I hit L to load it, there we go, it's pulling those tiles back from the file. So quick preface to this video, I absolutely do not recommend saving any game data to an any file. I don't recommend you saving anything important like that to an any file. The only thing you should be saving to an any file would be basic things like camera settings, display or resolution settings, simple things like that you don't mind people digging around in the files. The reason I'm using any files today is because it's quick and easy. But because of that, it's also very easy for other people to start digging around in the files and otherwise mess with the game in ways that you don't want them to. So if you want to learn decent ways to save and load your game, I would recommend looking into JSON, saving and loading through JSON. There's tons of tutorials out there. If people want one bad enough, I can make one, but for the purposes of this video today, I'm just going to be showing you how you can save and load tiles and tile layers, just because I had a hard time finding any sort of decent documentation on this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so getting into our blank project here, all I have set up so far is just a sprite with a few different tile options, a tile set, and then just an empty object. And then if we go to our room, all I did was fill in the background with, well, I created the tile layer and then I just filled it in with orange and then went ahead and drug the object in here. So what we'll do is we will start with the create event. You can do this a couple of different ways. You can save it with arrays, you can save it in a DS grid, you can do DS lists, you can do DS maps, however you want to do it. For today's video, I'm just going to use an array because, again, it's super simple and easy. Anything beyond that, obviously you should be somewhat versed in GML, so hopefully you can find a resource or something to help you along that line. But what we'll do is we'll just create an array and we'll call it the tile array. It's going to be a two-dimensional array, so set 0 and 0, and then just give it a default value of 0. And then we'll add a step event, and in our step event we'll go ahead and start getting the layers and the tile map set up. So the first thing we'll do is we'll initialize a variable and just call it layer ID, and it's going to equal layer get ID, and then just the tiles layer, so tiles 1, and then we'll do map ID, it's going to equal layer tile map get ID lay ID. And this code right here is straight from the manual. I mean, almost word for word exactly what they give you in the manual for some of the examples. Going further into that, we're going to get an X position, and it's going to be the tile map get cell X at pixel. Tile map element ID is going to be the map ID. The X that we want to get is going to be the mouse X, and then the mouse Y. And then we can just copy and paste that to get our Y. And change that to cell Y. And then everything else can stay the same. Then what we want to do is create a variable called tile data and set that to tile map get, and then we're going to do the map ID again, and then we'll feed it the X and the Y positions that we're getting. Quick description of what this is doing. So tile map get cell X at pixel is going to take, so we're feeding it the X and Y position of our mouse. So whatever point on the screen that our mouse is, it's going to get that tile map cell information for X. Exact same thing for the Y axis right here. And then we're just storing the data that we get from that tile in these variables. And then tile data equals tile map get. So we're setting the tile map that we want to affect, basically, and then giving it the X and Y values that we're getting based off of our mouse X and Y position. And then this next one is just var data, and that's going to equal 2. I'll describe that a little bit better here in just a second. We're actually almost done with the step event. All the step event is doing is allowing us to click and draw tiles on screen. So we'll do if mouse check button pressed mb underscore left, and then all we have to do is tile map set. Since we already got the tile map up here, now we're going to set the new tiles. So again, we'll set the map ID, feed it the data underscore X and underscore Y. So exact same thing as up here with the tile map get. We have to set the tile map that we want to affect. This is where data comes in. So tile data var data equals 2. So what we're telling the game there is in our tile map, or sorry, our tile set here, this first tile is going to be 0, then this orange one is going to be 1, and then we're going to go back down to the bottom left. So this is 2. If I set it to 3, it would be this gray one, but I like the green, so we're going to stick with the green. So all that's doing is every time we press our mouse button down, we're setting whatever tile is under the mouse right here to this second tile. And then it's targeting, of course, the layer that we assign up here. So that's all there is to that. If we go ahead and run the game, see, we can place tiles. Can't do anything else yet. Haven't added anything else yet. For testing purposes, I'll go ahead and throw in a key pressed R, and we'll just do room restart. That way we can do a fresh test of the loading and saving without having to constantly close and open the game over and over again. So the next thing we want to do is our function to save. So we'll do a key pressed, S for save. And the first thing we want to do inside of the save is, again, set the tile layer that we want to affect. So we're going to do var lay ID. It's going to be layer get ID tiles1, or whatever your tile layer is called. And then we'll do the same for the map ID and set it to layer tile map get ID, and then the layer ID. And now we get into the meat and potatoes. So all this is just nested for loops. Super simple. We're just going to do for I equals 0, I is less than the room's width, I plus equals 16. The reason we're doing the room width is because I want it to affect the entire room. If your project is bigger, obviously I wouldn't recommend this. One of the things that I was doing when I tested this was I had a 10,000 by 10,000 room. So that didn't go super great. loading and saving that file. I thought GameMaker was going to explode on me, but yeah, you'll want to set that to whatever whatever size of area you want to affect, and then we're just incrementing it by 16 because my tiles are 16 by 16. So then we'll do the exact same thing. So this is going to act as our x-axis, and then we'll do another for loop. For the y-axis, it'll be II equals 0. II is less than room height. II plus equals 16. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is, again, we're going to set an x, and it's going to be equal to tile map get cell at x pixel, and same thing, we'll just feed it the map ID. And for the x and y values, now we're just going to feed it the I and the II. And then we can copy and paste that and change it to the y. And there you go, that's that. Same thing, we want to set tile data. So we'll set tile data equal to the tile map get, and then same thing, map ID. And then we'll feed it the X and the Y. So we're doing the exact same thing here as we did back here to draw the tiles. Now we're just, assigning it to a variable so we can save it. And then we will feed that data into our array. So tile array I and II are going to be equal to tile data. Now comes the actual saving portion. So what we've done is we've taken the X and Y of the entire room, stored all of the tile data into our array. So what we want to do is we'll write, I'll just name it test. It's just going to be JSON stringify. The value we're going to feed it is the tile array. And all that's going to do is turn it into a savable string through JSON. And then we'll do any open. And we'll just name this test.ini. And then we'll want to actually write to the any file. So any write string section, we'll just say it's a test section. The key is going to be 0, and the string can just be, the string has to be test. So we'll do test. You could just put this right here, but I prefer assigning it to a variable just because it's easier to look at, identify, okay, this is doing this, so it goes there. And then we just need to close the file itself. So that's it. That right there will save our file. If we launch the game and just do a whole bunch of random clicks and then hit S, and then we can close this, and here we go, 3:32 a.m. Yep. But if we open this up, this is basically the data. This is exactly what the data looks like once it's run through here. It's a lot. You're not gonna be able to look at it easily and understand what's going on, but you can definitely figure it out if you know what you're looking for. So again, I don't recommend anybody actually saves and loads any valuable game data with any files, but there's that. So we know it's saving, we know that works. Now we just need to actually load the game. So if we do a key pressed for L, we'll do this basically in reverse order of what we did on saving. So we finished saving by opening an ini, writing the data that we've gotten stored in variables, and then closing it. On the loading, what we'll do is we'll first open the s.ini, and then we'll set our tile array equal to JSON parse. Since we did JSON stringify, now we have to turn it back into a format that the programming language can actually understand. So we'll do parse, and then we'll do any read string, and then we'll just feed it the exact same thing. So test 0, and then for our default value, we can just set it to 0. Any read string here is just doing the exact opposite of this. So where we're writing a string here, now we're reading that string and parsing it. And then we can close it. So any close. Now we'll just set up the loading the exact same way we set everything else up. So we'll do var layer ID equals layer get ID files 1. Var map ID equals layer tile map get ID, and feed it the layer ID. And we'll do another beautiful nested for loop. So for I equals 0, I is less than the room width, I plus equals 16. Oops. And then our y is going to be I is 0, I is less than room height, I plus equals 16. Okay, now that we have that looping through every position in our room, same thing, we'll just set an X, and that's going to be tile map get cell X at pixel. We'll feed it the map ID again, feed it I, and feed it II. And then same thing, just copy and paste that down. Change it to Y, and you're good to go on that. Now all we have to do is everywhere else where we're doing tile map get. So when we're saving, we want to save get. Now we want to set. So when we load it, we want to set the tile map. So we'll do tile map set. Set the map ID again. We'll feed it the tile data. So that's going to be our tile array. That's not an I. And then we'll feed it the X and Y positions. So this is, like I said, just doing the exact opposite of what our save did. We're getting all the exact same data. We're just doing a different thing with it. Instead of getting for storage, we're setting for play. So that's it. That's all you need. That's all you have to do to save and load tile layers. So if I hit S and then restart the room, we're blank here, hit L, boom, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful tiles. Go ahead and hit save again, restart, load. Okay, I'll hit restart again, draw a new design here, hit save, restart, load. Perfect. Glad it's working. Hopefully this helped you guys. Like I said, I had to do quite a bit of looking into how to get this to work. I hadn't done a lot with the new layer system, didn't do a lot with the new tile system. So this was a fun little thing to kind of get back into GMS2 for myself anyway. Again, like I said, super don't recommend saving and loading data to an ini file if it's actually important data for your game. If you want a tutorial on a good way to save and load your game data, I believe Sean Spalding has a really good one on saving and loading with JSON files. I know there's quite a few more floating around out there. That's just the one that comes to the top of my head. So if you have any questions about the actual tile map functions, anything with the layers, stuff like that, feel free to comment. I'll do what I can to help you. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found this helpful. And that'll be it. See ya.